just in his freedom, because he's really a small business.
Well, thank you, Ms. P. Good morning. My name is Charles O'Neill, and when we met, I had big fro and black beard. So that lets you know how long ago that was. I'm here this morning because of that woman. I ended up in her code enforcement court, and she said, "Here's what you got to do to get out of this file." I really enjoyed this. Here's what I'm getting.
All right.
The exchange of information. With good information, you make good decisions. And that's what's important about, one, all the work that you're doing, but about community building and relationship building. Good information is going to be the foundation of that, so it's good. I've been in the newspaper business. That's where we met, working for this community. My first job was working for Tony Davis in 1975, Dallas. So about, what, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. But for the last 18 years, I worked for the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, and I was president of that organization. Right, as I mentioned, I was a consultant to the Texas Association of African American Chamber of Commerce. I serve on the board of the U.S. Black Chambers. So I'm in the business of business.
Yeah.
But there are some things that impact business that impact you and that you can be a part of solving. One, understanding politics. Politics is the process that determines who gets what, when, where, and how much, right? We know that. So you got to be involved and stay involved. Elected officials work for you, not the other way around. Make demands on them. Make demands on them. That's including Rick Perry and other crazy ones. I just said that. But the other thing is economic development. It's a term loosely thrown around in our community, black folks' community. We want some economic development. We want some economic development. Understand what attracts developers. ROI. I ain't interested to come help you. I ain't interested in nothing but getting a return on my investment. Come take your money. They will do it and leave you with empty pockets. That's right. That's right. Economic development, if you take it at its root words, means to develop an economy. If you export your capital, you have developed someone else's economy. That's right. And yours is like mine. Okay? So there's some responsibility that goes along with this exchange of information. That is that all of your deliberations must result in an improved economy in your community.
That's right.
Not someone else's.
That's right.
To do anything else is irresponsible. Suicidal, maniacal, stupid. And we have a chance to do something about that. I heard something one man in here who is a friend of this community just told you he was going to spend $2 million to renovate a facility in your community. What he could have told you was that he was going to hire you and you and you to make those $2 million in improvements. That's a partnership. He got the money from someplace. He's going to pay it to somebody. And if it doesn't stay here in this community, if there wasn't a black plumber or electrician or someone welding wrought iron fence from this community, that's not a partner. And I like him. I spoke at their Ross Avenue graduation just the other day.
What if I tell you that will happen?
Oh, I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen now. Absolutely certain of that. Ms. Pemberton can find me. I I think I can be helpful. My commitment is to be helpful.
That's right.
Call on me, and I'm not the most modest man you'll ever meet. I'm pretty good at what I do. One side note that I do, and this is what I challenge you to be informed about what's going on with your government. The state of Texas spent in its 2012 budget about $15 billion. Well, $14.4 billion, that's $15 billion, right? Black-owned businesses earned 1.63%. Wow. That's criminal. That's a bully who took your money and did something else with it. So if you're not involved, if you're not paying attention, there'd be no way that you can make up the economic gap, because the money that you have, a taxpayer right of return on, is being used to finance someone else's. Okay? So, Senator West, Representative Giddens, Representative Davis, Representative Johnson, all of those folks who are our friends have to know how concerned you are that we're not getting a pro rata share return on our taxpayer investment. That's critical to how communities are made whole. I'll say, Ms. Pemberton, if I can help, I'll try my best. The name of my company is Strategic. That's what we do. Unique strategies, unique solutions. And again, we're pretty good at what we do. I'm not coming back to your court. I'm coming back to see y'all, but I'm not coming back. But thank you so much for this opportunity, Ms. Pemberton. If I can do anything to help, please let me know. Thank you.
And before you go, there was a program in 2005 when the evacuees came. And he created a program for the evacuees to have a job. It's called Back on My Feet Again.
That's
CEI, some other people came in, and United Way sponsored that. In fact, 3 businesses grew out of that. They came to me and said, Ms. Pemberton, we got all these, over 450,000 evacuees came. What are we going to do? And so we need to do, so I went to them and Dr. Brooks, and we formulated a program called Back on My Feet Again, where they help, they sent them, I think, about 10-week class.
That's right.
And he educated them and trained them. I think out of that, we had about 15 businesses, but 3 of them remained open. And so they gave him a bag, they gave him everything. So he just, he is what he is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going to his school. You go to his school and graduate, you're not going to be the same. You're going to hurt your feelings, but at the end of the day, you're going to be able to say, I've been to it.
Only way I hurt your feelings is if you get hurt by the truth. I'm always going to tell you the truth. We believe that within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll be able to make an announcement about a similar training program that's going to be available through the Dallas Urban League. Just waiting on finally, we'll be through very much what we did with the Back on My Feet Again program. And then I just missed a call, and I think we were at a meeting on Goldman Sachs, right, earlier this week. They got a conference call going on. They're going to bring their 10,000 small business program to North Texas. So there are lots and lots and lots of training opportunities for business development that's going on here in North Texas. And again, we'll be able to update you on that next time we see.
Good,
Okay.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Go for it. Well, go ahead. Okay. I first started coming to this center in 1994 when I worked for our radio group. I was with KVIL Radio, and so I'm very familiar with the center. I spent a number of years here working with the former owners on helping to market the center. So it has a spot in my heart for me. When you were talking, I was just asking Kimberly Hernandez, because things that you did with the prostitution, you know, we're involved in an event in April called New Friends, New Life, and it's all about getting women and kids out of the sex trade. There's so much that everybody here is a part of besides the regular business. So we're just happy just to be here to learn. I'm taking notes, quite frankly, and I'm giving notes to our news department when we get back, because what you're talking about, I want a news camera there the next time you do that. Absolutely. Particularly as tied in with this April 12th event, because there'll be 1,200 women at this event raising funds to get women out of prostitution. So there needs to be that communication. You guys have been talking about communication. That's what it's all about. So if we communicate together, and it's our responsibility. We're in sales, okay? We're salespeople. Everybody here is selling something, okay? But the whole thing is that if we have the communication here in the community, and we have real development with real developers, with a real plan, and the community supports that, then we got something. And then we won't have the stigma of Redbird Mall, Blackbird Mall, whatever it is. I mean, I'm as white rich you can get, guys. If you look at me, you think of Mr. Magoo. You know? But the thing is the diversity of the area is part of the strength of the area, part of the strength of this community. And the African American community, in my mind, as an outsider, has been underplayed in the last several years because of the growth of the Hispanic population. You're both. Okay. But just like everybody's talking about, I felt like I was in church being preached to over here. And that control of involvement in the community. We will help how we can by disseminating information and putting your message to the right people at our stations. And that's their deal. They know how to communicate that better. You know, we're in it to learn. And so thank you for the opportunity. And Ms. Hernandez, this is a passion for us as well. And say something.
Well, I've been involved for a couple months now, maybe about half a year, close to a year now, just in the process and just getting to know. I'm new to Dallas area, so being placed in a community where I don't know anything and then automatically seeing the triumphs and the struggles of the community, it kind of gives you a sense of home. And it just, you kind of see the growth process. I remember when I first met Ms. Pemberton, one of the patrons that now is here in the mall, they kind of moved here because they could see the growth and the development within this community. So personally, for me, that's why I take a stance. Even though we are salespeople, there's a separate involvement in this, you know, because there's going to be a time where those businesses that are moving here are booming, and I want to get in that business. But right now, it's all about getting the word out and doing what we can, and even just being here to listen, to talk to maybe somebody that I know, another business owner that I may be working with. So any information, I'll hand out a couple business cards. You guys can feel free. And businesses that are moving here, people that are looking to just kind of meet with other people. I mean, we meet people all day, so please feel free to use this as a resource. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a young man who was issued a citation for having drug paraphernalia, and he came into our court, and for whatever reason, he had gotten wrapped up in a bag of people or whatever, and he had literally just dropped out of school. I was so disappointed for him because in talking to him, he'd only dropped out maybe 2 weeks prior, and part of my court order for him was to go back to his high school, talk to his counselor, and figure out how he could get re-enrolled back in school. Unfortunately, because he was in his senior year and it was the end of the fall semester, he was not able to re-enroll back into school. However, what we did do is we gave him resources to be able to get his GED, and actually I will be referring him to Dallas Can so that he can finish and get his degree and graduate, because you don't have the graduation. So what we do in community court is really important. When we have initiatives in a certain area, we do community service hours, okay? So one of the things that you have to do is you do community service hours. Well, when we do our initiatives, when DPD does their initiatives down here, people who are if manifestation of prostitution, if it's drug paraphernalia, whatever, we send them back to the area where they got the citation to do community service. So that means you're going back to that corner where you were just standing and littering and doing it, and you're cleaning that up. And so that's a major point for us as well. I think that might be just about it. There's so much that's going on, but I know time is well spent. So does anybody have any questions for me? And business-minded people. There is a school of thought called CEPTED. Is anybody familiar with CEPTED? Okay, CEPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. And one of the things that I'm really big on, because I believe it works, is that how we structure, how we make some of our things look can be just as much of a deterrent to crime and the appearance or the illusion of crime. Because again, even as DPD said, that's one thing that you guys can help do is spread the word. that really crime is not high down here. Southwest Division of the City of Dallas has the lowest crime rate of all 7 divisions of the City of Dallas. So please spread that information. But the way that you make your property look, various designs you can do can deter crime. So when Malcolm was talking about using the wrought iron fences, that is a deterrent because it just says, hey, you know what, this is my property, you should stay on this side. But it's not ugly and it doesn't make you feel like you're in prison. That's some of the things that we're working on as well, is how can we improve the aesthetic around the area to just give the appearance of you know, a flourishing and thriving community. One of the things that we worked very hard on for our business owner who's down, he owns the Motels down, he comes to our apartment managers meeting down on Independence. If you know anything about Independence, that's where you can find a lot of prostitution, you can find a lot of drug activity, you can find all kinds of stuff going on down there. Well, we took a tour down there and got a request from one of our business owners down there and said, hey, there's no lighting down here, that's a problem. So we went down there and looked, and sure enough, there is just not enough lighting. And so we worked and pushed the information up the chain. And so in about, I'm counting down, 25 days, there should be 5 new street lights down on Independence. And so those are the kinds of things that we really need to know about. So if you know an area that you know has a lot of trash or just not well lit or just needs some attention, please let us know so we can try to push that forward. So anyway, if you have a chance to look that up, Google it, crime prevention through environmental design. Thank you.
Got one last announcement.
We just wanted to mention that we're having our first annual Spring Fling Expo on March the 15th, and we are looking for vendors to come out and talk to the people, as well as getting the word out to the community to come out. We're hoping to make this a real huge event. And we have a card, you can call us, email us about how do you become a vendor for the event.
What?
Safe Against Family and Children Program.
When is it?
It's March 15th.
Where?
It's going to be on 9605 Clark Road in the mall there. It used to be the old Albertsons.
Any other questions? They say in church we're a little bit over, but okay, I just wanted y'all, but I just wanted you all to hear the report and know that it's not that, it's about all of us. Randy's right here, Elder Randy Clark. One of the things he's doing, he's working with our transportation. You want to give just a quick word on what you're doing?
Well, one of the things that we have been looking at is transportation needs in the southern sector, because we realize in this area there's a lot of things that are happening, particularly in the logistic corridor, but people can't get to the jobs because a lot of dark transportation stops on this side of 20 and a lot of jobs is on the other side of 20. And one of the things that Sister Pimpler and I are doing is trying to bring some people together to provide a solution to that, so that hopefully we can help more people be able to get to where the jobs are, so that now, as we talked about, you're strengthening the community because people have sustainable jobs, and now they can purchase homes and do other things, and then they have more options. So that's one of the things we're trying to do in this area.
Yeah, there's 3 routes we're working on: I-20, I-45, and 35.
Yeah.
We found out, we took a tour, we found out all those jobs are over there, but can't nobody get there because there's no mass transportation. And so we're working with companies so if anybody's in transportation, you may want to look at us. We're going to try to go, since the midterm is over. Since the midterm election is over.
That's right.
Now we can start talking to our politicians again, since they don't have to run to November. So now yes, sir.
Ms. P, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I ran across an article that there was a $28 million grant that's put towards bringing streetcar service to downtown Dallas, and hopefully by 2014. Is that going to touch here?
No, that's no one touch.
And why not?
Yeah, that streetcar service is really just north of Cliff, Bishop Arts. They, another group that's on Jefferson Boulevard has fought to get the streetcar to come to Jefferson Boulevard, but that's as far down as it goes.
And that's what we have.
Right now.
Yeah, so that's what we have to do. I'm glad you brought that up. But that's what, see, everybody thinks that when the mayor first kicked off growSouth, the whole thing was, Bishop Arts. And so we had to let him know there was another part, and he told us at a meeting. He didn't know. So we sent our message, and I'm like this. He said he didn't know all this stuff was going on. So we had a meeting with him. And so he said, oh, I didn't know all this stuff was happening. So that was July 2nd. So after that, That's when we just decided we're gonna do our own, and so we did our own, and now we're in everybody's face. Because it went back to what Neil said, if you don't tell the story, don't nobody know. We got to beat the drum, so I'm glad you brought that up. It's like another thing they get ready to do. They just put a tip, what is it, something else they just talked about, that they're gonna do a Bishop Arts. I said, how can we get this? So we're going after everything we can get. May not get it all, but we're gonna go after as much as we can. And how the man said, we're gonna beat them down, we're gonna worry them until everybody knows that we're not going anywhere. And I want to thank everybody again for coming. I know we don't have time, but I just want to let you all know what was happening and what we got. There's refreshments over there, and you all have the same candy.
Just a quick announcement. We're having a pre-planning home buyer to help people prepare to purchase a home, as well as a foreclosure prevention on March 29th at Concord from 10 to 2. This is sponsored by Harmony, but it's to help people prepare to purchase a home, as well as helping